Okay, so whether you have been making games for a long time or you are just starting out your game development, it comes to a point where the effects, particle system, force field, trail, and line are no longer enough, and you want to up your game to start getting some amazing visual effects. So, right now in this video, I'm going to show you two things or steps which we are going to take to install a few tools and then set them up so that you can be able to get some of these amazing visual effects. All right, so what we will be doing today, the first thing would be how to install these tools for the effects properly, and then the second would be how to set them up so that we avoid errors. Because if you have made games by now, you know Unity. If you miss a step or two, you end up with an error, and sometimes that can be a headache. So right now what we're going to do is we're going to set this up. Of course, the first step which we need to take is to go to our Windows and then access our package manager. You need to be online to be able to do this, otherwise it's going to be a really big problem. Now, inside of the package manager, there are four things which you would need to install. First of all, make sure you install the lightweight render pipeline. You can see I already have it installed. This is the latest as of now, so you can see there's a remove button for me, but for you it's going to be an install button, so make sure you do that. You have to be online to do this, so make sure you have a steady network. Now, after installing the lightweight render pipeline, you need to install the scriptable build pipeline. Of course, this has to be up to date, so make sure you install that, and then install the shader graph, and finally the visual effects graph. So these are the four things which you are going to be installing. Let me go over them again. You have the lightweight render pipeline. This is one. Scriptable build pipeline. This is two. And then you have the visual effects graph, and then I think the shader graph itself. So those are the four things which you need to install. Now, after installing this, there is a way you have to set it up. Okay, so once we install these packages, we can go ahead and right click in our project panel and go into create. We will see new tools which have been added to us. There are different things starting from down here. You can see there's a custom renderer, a new tool called the visual effects, which you can see there is visual effect graph and so many others. And then up here, this is what we'll be focusing on. So let's go into your shader and then select an unlit graph. All right, so for this graph now, I'm going to name this graph. Okay, so inside this graph, we can now double click this to open up a few nodes which we can connect. So this is the master node which we'll be connecting. After editing all this, you can add it to a material which will give it nice effects. So if you go into this plus, you can see there is a vector 1, 2 up to 4, a texture, a boolean, matrix, a sampler state, and a gradient. So all these one, if you connect them together, all right, so let's type maybe just vector, and then you can drag this here and then connect them and make different things or changes which you want and edit it to your own taste. So it's almost like a node in for those who use Blender, they might be familiar with this. So it's just a node which you connect different things together, but we have a problem here because this is not going to work unless we add something else to this, to our current graph, our current only graph. Now I'm going to zoom this. I'll zoom this quickly, and you can see if I hover around this error, there is a current. It says the current render pipeline is not compatible with the master node. So what it's saying is that it doesn't really recognize this. All right, so this would not work no matter how many different vectors or matrices you connect, because there is one more thing which we need to set up. So let's go back by exiting that, and then all you need to do is you need to right click in your project panel, go into create, and for this create now you need to go into rendering and go to lightweight render pipeline and select the pipeline asset. So select this and then call this maybe shader. Alright, so once this loads, this is the tool which is missing for you to start connecting different nodes together. It's just a simple scriptable object which has different data that the shader the shader graph can understand. So what after doing this, of course it's not going to work because we still need to go into edit and then select project settings, and over here you need to select graphics. If you haven't selected that yet, it pops up this area which you have different things to change, so that you can edit the graphic of the game or whatever to your own taste anyway. So this is what you have. You can see it's looking for a scriptable render pipeline setting. So this is set to none. You can now drag this shader over there, and once it's there it can read that this is a scriptable render pipeline. You can close this now and go ahead and open your graph. So double click the graph to open it up, and here it is. So you can see there are no more errors for you. You can start playing around with this, adding textures, renaming them, alright, dragging them in and then connecting different nodes together to pop up to create different settings or edit or create different visual effects. So this is just the intro to start making lots of amazing effects inside of Unity. Alright, with this we've come to the end of the video. If you enjoyed my video, make sure you give me a like, subscribe to my channel so you don't miss any of my content. Thank you for watching this video, and I hope I see you in my next video.